Alright, so the door's about to open. Here we go. Cold snap. Let's see the AoE. Yeah. They all just go down. It's super easy, man. This build is so good.
What's up everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Ben Lee. I make multiple videos on Outriders every single week. Tips, tricks, guides, builds, you name it. And I've also started live streaming. It's been going incredibly well and the support has been amazing. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. The streaming has been right here on YouTube, so you don't even have to leave the platform. Very convenient. So hit that subscribe button, you'll be able to be notified when I go live. Don't be like Dave here. Come on, Dave. You can do it. But with all of that out of the way, guys, this is my much requested Technomancer build for general CTs. It's incredibly strong and quite well balanced, and there are a few options as usual. I will go through them. The damage is absolutely insane. The range on this character is great. So if you're looking for a build that's firepower based as opposed to anomaly power, this one is absolutely incredible. If you're looking to just shoot things from range as well, then Technomancer obviously is second to none. It's really good fun to play. The numbers are absolutely silly. It can be a bit squishy at times, but the defensive mods I've got in here work really quite well, and there's also another way that you can make yourself less squishy, which I'll go through in the skill tree. And you've also got to look out for the potential of losing rounds. I'm absolutely fine when I'm playing with this build, but just make sure you're committing to killing things when you're shooting and don't switch target too much, because if you do end up losing rounds, the cooldown is really long, but I don't tend to have a problem with this at all. Just a side note as well, I highly recommend that if you are going to play a firepower Technomancer, if you're going to be doing co-op, then try and make sure that you're the host, because there is a little bit of a bug with the mod that gets your rounds back, and it doesn't seem to work properly if you're off host, so it's definitely something to consider. But yeah guys, this build is absolutely incredible. It's really good fun. It's balanced all round. As I said, there are some things you can change, but let's get straight into it. So with our skills, guys, the first one I'm using is Blighted Turret. This one's really good because this skill can actually act as a bit of a diversion, but also with that as well, it buffs our weapon damage. That's a perk from the skill tree, and I'll go over that one a bit later, and it also inflicts toxic onto enemies as well. Blighted rounds, this is where most of our damage comes from, so definitely going to need that one. And then as our last skill here, I like to use Cold Snap. I find that Cold Snap has a much more balanced playstyle. It's a really nice defensive playstyle skill, and it is a really large radius. It's got quite a high cooldown, but it works really well with the Borealis chest piece that I'm using, and I'll go over that a little bit later on. There is an option to swap out Cold Snap for Shrapnel. You would do this if you wanted to get an extra 30% weapon damage buff for you and your team, at the cost of the defensiveness of Cold Snap. Maybe you've got a good team and you can just hang back, so Shrapnel would give you much more damage, and that would be because of the Cannonade skill here. Activating an Ordnance skill increases your weapon damage for you and your allies by 30% for 10 seconds is really quite decent, especially if you're playing with someone else who's running a firepower build. Cannonade can be really good for that. However, I like to have on Cold Snap. It's a really nice defensive skill. It works really well, plus it just looks really cool, so I like to have Cold Snap in my build. Moving on to the class tree here, you can see we're up the top tree for Pestilence. I don't really feel like there's much room to maneuver here. You could use, instead of Blur Screen for example, you could just come down and pick up one of the max health nodes. However, there is one node that I do want to talk about if you're finding yourself quite squishy and you don't want to take quite as much damage, and that is the two sides of the power here. So this increases damage received from all sources by 15%, but you also deal 20% more damage. So it's a really nice skill. I love to have it in mine. I really like that extra 20% damage, but if you find yourself dying quite a lot and you find that Firepower Technomancer is quite squishy for yourself, you could end up taking this one off and replacing it again with one of the max health nodes over here. Yes, you would have less damage, but you'd also have more health and you wouldn't receive that extra 15% more damage. So maybe try it out and see what works best for you.
Everything else here is basically like Exposing Toxin here, which inflicts vulnerable, and then vulnerable is 40% more effective. We've got things like Assault Weapon Mastery because I choose to use assault weapons. I find them much more consistent and much better than using sniper rifles. However, at some point I do want to make a sniper rifle build, so be on the look for that one. And then at the end here, we're doing 15% more damage to things that have toxic on, extra magazine size here, as well as, this is the one I was talking about earlier, activating a decay skill increases weapon damage for you and your allies by 40%. And yes, you can stack that one with the Cannonade if you want absolutely crazy high damage, but Cold Snap and Blur Screen is going to be much more defensive. Moving on to the weapons, the weapon I choose to use most of the time is the Earthborn Renegade's Assault Rifle. This is a DLC gun. You can pick it up on Steam, for example, if you really wanted to have this. However, basically what you're looking for is a tactical variant assault rifle because they do much more damage, with crit damage and long range damage. The third one here, we have Status Power, which is quite good for Cold Snap. However, it's not completely mandatory.
mandatory. You definitely want to just have an assault rifle that you can switch over to tactical with crit damage and long range damage, and ideally you want to find one that's got something like bone shrapnel here. It's a really good mod. It's only on a 1-second cooldown and it allows you to clear all the trash mobs really easy with the AoE. And I've paired this one up with Dark Sacrifice. Dark Sacrifice is, in my opinion, the best in slot mod you can have for it. It will tick down your HP a little bit, but a constant 75% weapon damage bonus is absolutely incredible. If you don't have Dark Sacrifice or you don't want to use it, you could, if you've got an Amber Vault for example, break one down and get the Killing Spree mod here, which is killing shots increase damage by 25% for this weapon for 20 seconds, and the bonus deteriorates with time and stacks up to 3 kills, so you can essentially get the same effect with Killing Spree without the health being ticked down. However, it's not as consistent and it's not up all the time. If you've just had a cutscene, for example, at the end of Boomtown when Dr. Detonator jumps down, you won't have your Killing Spree up, so you have to kill a couple of things to be able to get the extra weapon damage up, to then be able to shoot with the extra 75% damage. This is why I prefer Dark Sacrifice, because it's just always there and it's more consistent. You could always as well put on Amber Vault itself and put on Dark Sacrifice here, or even a mod like Fortress, which could work really well across the board as well. And that's if you didn't like the tactical assault rifles. And the thing with the Amber Vault as well is it does actually have slightly more range.
Another one that I do actually use here is the Inferno Seed. This one's quite a good weapon as well. Again, it's got crit damage and it's got long range damage, but Wrath of Moloch on it is really quite nice. Critical hits cause an explosion dealing X amount of damage
and inflict burn on enemies within a 5-meter radius, and it's on a 3-second cooldown, so this one you can get off quite a bit. Yes, you have to be good at getting crit shots for this one. However, when the burn is inflicted, it also acts as a CC, so it's quite nice, but it's completely up to you if you want to use this one.
Again, I've put Dark Sacrifice on this one, and this one drops here on the Fatal Symbiote. Dark Sacrifice is absolutely amazing, and I highly recommend it. Another one that you could go with is a assault rifle like this one here. Again, it's a tactical variant. It's got critical damage and long range damage. I've put on Dark Sacrifice because this one actually came with Gravesdigger's Frenzy. This is one that I use in my Eye of the Storm Technomancer build to be able to take down Yagak really quickly. The damage numbers are absolutely insane when you use this, so you're lacking AoE, but Gravedigger's Frenzy is really good for taking out things really quickly as long as you can get your critical hits in. When it comes to the pistol, I've just got Lucky on here. It's completely irrelevant because you never use it. Coming over to the armor here, you definitely want to have bonus firepower and long range damage on all your pieces. That is completely mandatory. And then ideally you want to have close range damage with what I have here. But if you manage to have maybe 1 or 2 pieces with status power, that would also be good for buffing your freeze duration from Cold Snap. But with the helmet here, and with this one, I've put on Sharp Eye, and Sharp Eye drops on Sergio's Beret here. It's an absolutely fantastic mod, and I absolutely highly recommend it. So killing enemies while aiming down the sights grants you X amount of firepower, and again, that number depends on the level of your item, and it's a 20-second buff that stacks up to 3 times. It gives you a ton of firepower, and I highly recommend it. The second one I've got on here is Mitigation from Death. This is your go-to defensive mod. It's S tier in my eyes, and killing enemies while aiming down the sights grants X amount of armor for 10 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. But I also pair it with Perseverance Shield that I have here on the Borealis Monarch robe here. So this one comes with bonus firepower and long range damage, and I believe you can buy this one from Tiago, so go ahead and get yourself this one. It's just going to cost you a few drop pod resources. So yeah, I've put on Perseverance Shield. It's a really nice mod to give you some more defense, paired with Mitigation from Death. So if you're struggling with health or you feel too squishy, Perseverance Shield is going to be really good for you. I've got on here Icicle Storm. Of course, you're only going to be using this one if you've got Cold Snap. If you don't have Cold Snap, then you want to be changing your armor for something like one like this. Again, you're looking for bonus firepower, long range damage. Something like Crit Stack could be quite nice, or you could actually just then put on 3 defensive mods.
You could have like Perseverance Shield and then something like Emergency Stance as well if you were using Scrapnel and you wanted to be more defensive. Otherwise, you have options here to put on something like Critical Analysis or Crit Stack to do extra damage as long as you're hitting those critical shots. But I like to use the robe of the Borealis Monarch because I like to use Cold Snap, and Icicle Storm is really nice, so killing enemies that are frozen basically makes them explode for a lot of damage in a 5-meter radius. It looks really cool, it sounds really cool, and it's a really good AoE, so I highly recommend this one. Coming down to the pants here, again, bonus firepower, long range damage, and on here I have status power, and then I've chosen to put on Dum Dum Bullets. This increases your assault weapon damage by 10%, which is really nice, and then Bloodless as well, so killing shots increase your firepower by X amount and stacks up to 3 times and deteriorates every 10 seconds. This one combined with Sharp Eye why once you get a few kills going, gives you a crazy amount of firepower, and is one of the reasons that you'll do so much damage as a firepowered Technomancer. Coming down to the gloves here, I've chosen to put on Captain Hunter. Captain Hunter is incredibly good for taking out the elites. I highly recommend this, and this one is on the Cannonball gloves, so you can break it down and then mod it on. And then I've also got on here Radical Therapy, deal 15% more damage to enemies affected by toxic. Coming down to the boots here, we have bonus firepower, long range and close range damage again, and then we've put on Euthaniser. So Euthaniser deal 25% more damage against enemies affected by toxic. It's basically just a better version of Radical Therapy here. It's really strong, and this one combined with Bloodlust and Sharp Eye just gives you so much damage, absolutely mandatory. And this one can be found on the Plague Sower's gloves, so grab that one down. The gloves aren't very good themselves, break it down and put it on another piece of armor that you've got. And then Toxic Lead here, this is how you get your ammo back, so killing shots on enemies affected by toxic replenish 40% of ammo in your magazine. And as always guys, just because I'm really nice, I've even taken the time to bring up all the mods on screen for you now, so you can pause the video and have a look. And remember, if you like this, remember to go down and like the video. There is a really nice build as well that you can have if you want to go down a more freeze orientated build with the Borealis Monarch set, and this is increased weapon damage on frozen enemies by 90%. Also, critical hit damage is increased by 10% for all party members for 8 seconds after you use Cold Snap. If you were to combine the Monarch robe here with the pants, and I don't have the pants yet, and then you put on the gloves here, you've got the mod here like Shatter, deal 25% more damage against enemies affected by freeze. And then you also have Freezing Boost, which you can put on, so boost your damage against enemies affected by freeze by 15%. This one could be really good if you really like to use your Cold Snap and get off crazy high amounts of damage with the set. However, as I said, I don't have the pants yet. I'm still farming for them, but I wanted to put this in the video so you guys could have a little look and maybe have a little play with it as well.
Another honourable mention here is a tier 3 mod called Splash Boost. This one comes on the Plague Sower's skull here. This could be really good if you want some extra AoE, so be on the lookout for this one. I don't have this one yet again, but it's something that I think you could make a really nice build with.
Alright guys, so that's my current Technomancer build. I think it's really good fun. It's really quite well balanced as well in terms of offensive and defensive mods. The damage is still absolutely crazy high, and I don't particularly have any problems with survivability either. I do have as well about another 2 to 3, if not more, Technomancer builds planned, so check back in the channel, see if I've got those ones out yet. I've got some really fun ideas for some more kind of off-meta things that could be really good fun, and a nice dual turret freeze build as soon as I get time to make it, and I'll get that one out for you guys. Just want to shout out for the Discord that we've got going. There's an absolutely amazing community going on there. It's completely free. The link will be in the description if you fancy joining it. There's loads of people in there offering advice with their builds, as well as doing free carries for CT climbing. So big shout out to you guys. Keep up the good work. You're doing absolutely amazing, and thank you so much. Love you to pieces. And if you want to check out more, come check me out on the stream. I stream right here on YouTube. If you like the video, please give it a like, and consider subscribing if you've learned anything. I'll be posting multiple videos on Outriders every single week. And let me know in the comments what you think of this build. Maybe you've got something else that you would prefer to try, or another mod that you think would be amazing. Then let me know. I really want to know. And if you're going to use this build as well, let me know, because I really want to know who you guys are. I'll now leave you with the footage of this CT15 Camplant run that I did. I didn't really find it too difficult, and it was really good fun, so you can have a little look and see what the build's like.
Oh, and just as an extra shout out as well guys, I do have now plenty of builds on the channel for Trickster and also for Pyro. Things like Ash Blast, Overheat Pyro, which can take out entire rooms in literally like 2 seconds, as well as Debuff Pyro. So if you're interested in a Debuff Pyro build, I've got all the information there on the channel, so feel free to check that out. And until the next one guys, I hope you at least learned something, and I also hope you have a nice day. See you now.